The Postal Service keeps rural America connected. It helps Montana seniors receive everyday necessities like medicines. It allows our small businesses to conduct business. And it even makes sure that our election ballots get counted on time. And that is why this reform bill is so critically important all across rural America. This bill has come a long way from the version that I opposed in committee, but there is still a lot of work that needs to be done to make sure that it works for rural America. I've been working for several months on some changes, such as preserving the requirement for overnight delivery and providing better protection for rural communities that could lose their post offices. But we need to go further to find more ways to keep rural post offices open and functioning. That's why Senator Franken and Senator Levin and I have introduced an amendment to prevent the Postal Service from closing a post office if it leaves rural communities without sufficient access to postal services, like buying stamps to regular mail service. Our amendment gives the Postal Regulatory Commission more teeth in being able to reject the Postal Service's effort to close post offices and mail processing facilities if the Postal Service does not follow the criteria laid out in the bill. Mr. President, the Postmaster General is seeking to close around 3,700 post offices and over 200 mail processing facilities in this country. This bill will result in the reduction of another 100,000 postal employees. It will rewrite the rules of workers' compensation across the entire federal government. In short, it will change the lives of many, many people, to say nothing of the millions of Americans who will be impacted by a change in mail service. So with this in mind, I think it's critically important that the upper management of the Postal Service and the Board of Governors lead by example. That's why I'm offering an amendment to reduce the number of governors on the Postal Board of Governors from 9 to 7. The board is currently not at capacity, and it should be encouraged to work with the 6 governors who presently sit on the board. Governors receive compensation for expenses and a stipend of about $30,000 a year, with a total compensation up to about $42,600. It seems like a small savings. However, reducing up to $80,000 a year by cutting 2 positions could save 3 post offices in my state. For example, a DePuy or a Wyola or a Coffee Creek. We need to make sure everyone is tightening their belts, not just the folks who depend on mail service or the employees who will be forced into retirement or laid off over the next few years. My final amendment limits the 6 most senior postal executives, including the Postmaster General. And that limit is to a base salary of not more than $200,000, which is what a cabinet secretary makes. Now, I know there's some folks that think the Postal Service should be a private enterprise and that the pay of the postal executive should reflect that. But the reality is, the Postal Service is public service. It's right there in the Constitution that the Congress has the power to establish post offices. You can't get much more public than that. And again, the savings from this amendment may seem like a drop in the bucket, but saving just $200,000 a year in reduced executive compensation is the same savings you would get from the closure of a mail processing center in Helena, Montana's state capital, and Havre, an important town in north central Montana. To me, the choice is simple. If the Postal Service is out of money and painful cuts have to be made, they need to be felt up at the top as much as at the bottom. I hope that we get a chance to consider these amendments. They are relevant to the bill. This is a debate that is long overdue. It's time to have a serious debate in the Senate about what we want the Postal Service to look like. And that is why I voted to begin the debate on a bill that I cannot support yet. I want to get to the point where we have a bill that's going to save the Postal Service and not lead to its dismantling.